Hi and welcome, my name is Johnny Fergan, I'm from All Total Coaching. What I want to talk to you today is how drugs and pharmaceutical drugs are making you more depressed. This is part of our book, and today I'll share with you some of the things that may wake you up, some of them things you know, some of them things you don't. But I can reassure you, some of you that don't will be waking up. But before we start, please subscribe to our channel, please the notification bells, so you can be alerted to when we have videos. As a principle, we're doing 2 videos a week, one on the Monday and Thursday, 10 a.m. GMT. But before we start, I'd like to talk about our book, How to Be a Man, What Your Father Never Taught You, that I worked extensively for the last 12 years. It's getting delayed, but I can reassure you it's going to be an amazing book. I wouldn't be surprised if it hits the media, and I will be decimated in the media, but I'm not scared, because I'm here to tell you the truth. And what I say there are controversial, but it is the truth. And the great thing what I've done in this book, I've given proof from medical journals, from the Bible, from the Old Testament, and from the Australian Bureau of Statistics. Because if a man or a woman that makes a claim about anything and that cannot produce evidence, they're morons. And I will not produce my book without sufficient evidence. So when I make a statement, and I will make a statement, I can back up every word that I said. And in my book I give all the sources and resources so you can see where I got them from. So what is our book all about? It's about man. What is a man? How to be a man? Women, relationships and sex. Media, manipulation, indoctrination by the movies. Health, food and exercise and why it's so important. Money, wealth, what you need to know and what you're not taught at school. Value, what it is and why it's so important. How to overcome the biggest phenomena of our generation of depression and fear, where you, as you know probably by now, more than 8 people commit suicide a day. Feminism, the real truth. Family code and consequences. How to be social and build a great network. Social etiquette, keep up, how to maintain your relationships. Some of the rules that will save your life. Sources and resources. So today I'd like to talk about the pharmaceutical drugs that some of you, in fact a lot of you, in fact a lot of us, people in our society, take drugs. I've got a great friend of mine, he's a doctor, and not once or twice he told me, if I told you, comes here because I brought up this topic about suicide and the drugs, and he said, if I told you how many people come here that are multi-billionaires, they look happy all the time, and they're absolutely on suicide. And I said, like who? He said, I can't tell you, but you know at least 50% of them. Today, doctors give, in most cases, I won't say all, medications indiscriminately. In my book, I talk about a book from the American Medical Association, where 20 years ago, they said in this book, and I quote it in my book, your doctor, if you're going for depression, may give you an exercise regime as it alleviates pain and sorrow and produces endorphin. But today, doctors and pharmaceutical companies are not interested in your welfare. They're interested in the buck, because they know the more you take drugs, the doses have to increase over time. And all these drugs have side effects. Please Google side effects of all these drugs you take. Some of them cause miscarriage. Some of them cause hair loss. Some of them cause lower sexual libido. Some of them cause all sorts of problems that will impact your life drastically. And I will give you one little example. Some of them these drugs cause so many pain for men that later on when they can't get it up, yes they can get up by Viagra. Why is Viagra so famous? Because so many people use them. And they're not interested in your welfare or your sex life. They're interested in how to make money off your back. Think what I just said. Please Google the side effects of certain drugs you take. Now obviously I'm not a doctor, and I'm not telling you to stop taking drugs. But be aware of these things, that some of them have got lasting effects on your life and they're ruining your life. So what happens with these drugs? You take more and more drugs, it suppresses and numbs those feelings, and sooner or later you explode and then you do something that is crazy, like committing suicide or going on a mass murder. You can look at all these things, what I just said now, the causes of depression and mass suicide. and mass killings, a lot of them are linked to people taking drugs over the years, and then they exploded. Because it's like a spring, you suppress it, at a certain point it's going to explode. Years ago I had pain in my eye, and I went to the eye doctor, and they made a scan, and they said, it's not your eye, John, it's your tooth. So what happened in my tooth? There was decay, and because there was a feeling it couldn't come out, and because it couldn't come out, it came by the veins and went to my eye. If you suppress and take all these drugs, as sooner or later something will happen. It may not happen today or tomorrow, but it'll happen in 2, 3, 4 years, and you explode and you go on a rant, or you bash somebody in a bar or whatever, like we've seen so many times before. Why wait for these consequences to hurt you or hurt other people when you can be awake today and see how some of these drugs are making you more depressed, more suicide, and is ruining your life, and you're becoming dependent on it. It's like old fellow goes to the doctor and says to the doctor, "Doctor, I can hardly walk." He gives him a stick. So now he walks slowly with a stick, but now he's dependent on the stick. And it's the same thing with drugs. They give you the drugs, you become dependent on them, and once you take your drugs, you fall down. Think about what I just said. It's about time to take control of your life. If not, these drugs are going to control you. It's either you're in control of your life, or these drugs are controlling you. It's your life. What is it going to be? We live in a world, like I mentioned many, many times, of instant gratification. Stop deluding yourself, being consumed by mass media, Facebook and Instagram. It's insane, man. It's totally insane. The other day, a couple of weeks back, a woman that they're taking off the likes of Instagram went on a massive rant in Australia. She's 19 years old. She had so much plastic surgery. She looks like 35. And she went on a massive rant how they're taking the likes of Instagram. What is she going to do? So many people have got so many real problems, and this is her problem. This is how people are absolutely out of their friggin' minds, because they can't think independently. And because if you can't think independently, the pharmaceutical companies make money off your back. Think independently. Stop taking those drugs unless you really, really needed them. And if you are, I highly recommend to reduce the intake. Years ago when I was fat, I was drinking 3 sugars in my coffee. I reduced it to 2.5 gradually. Then 2. Then 1.5. Now 1. Now I even have to reduce that to probably half. I'm not drumming my tick and tell you how wonderful I am. Nobody cares. My job is to help you. My question for you is, are you willing to help yourself? So you won't be dependent on these drugs, and you won't have a fit one day like so many people that are in society. The media do not want to highlight what the pharmaceutical companies are doing to our community at large. And you, some of you watching this video, know precisely what I'm talking about. I want to be the ray of light that lifts you up and tells you the truth for once in your life. But at the same time, my dear friends, you have to help yourself. I'm here dedicated. I dedicate my life to help people. I dedicate my life to lift people's spirit up. My question is, if I give you my hand, are you going to give me your hand so I can lift you out of the abyss? That's a question I ask everybody. The question is, are you going to give me your hand so I can help you, so you can get out of it, and finally you can be really, really happy and get what you really want. Any problems whatsoever, please email us at john@sosdating.com. It's your life, it's your call. Thank you very much, as always. You know what? I'm your friend, Johnny Forget. Speak soon. Bye.